It's a doorknob, honey. You have to turn it. Turn the doorknob. Turn it and pull. You know what? Yeah, we're trying to. Doorknobs are hard, folks. Okay, have fun. Be nice. Please listen to mom. So folks, again, the BELABOX is basically a software package. It's not necessarily a physical item. You know, we're going to make it a physical item, but it is essentially a software package, and it's kind of sort of agnostic. It runs on the 3586 or whatever 3588 boards, which are like the rock chips. So the Orange Pi 5 Plus, the RADXA, I don't know how to say it. Is it RADXA, RAXA? I don't know. The Rock 5A and 5B, and it also runs on the Jetson Nano, which is kind of like a little graphics card. Computer. That's actually what's shown in this YouTube video here, the heatsink. That's actually a really good platform. There's better now, like the Orange Pi, but before, like the Orange Pi and the Rock chip, that Jetson Nano used to be the standard for this. The advantage of using the Rock or the Orange Pi 5 Plus is you're going to have this extra HDMI input. So you've got two outputs, but you've also got an input. So if you want to hook up a camcorder or something with HDMI to this and live stream, like maybe you're a storm chaser, or if you want to do some sort of live streaming production, you could hook up a camera, like a camcorder, a GoPro with HDMI. You could even hook up a computer or literally anything that you want to run HDMI through, or a switcher. You can also do lots of cool stuff with this. Such as just automatically stream the USB camera. So you'll be able, once we get this set up, you'll be able to start with the HDMI ports as inputs, or you'll be able to start with the USB ports with a USB camera, like our weatherproof camera we're going to use as an input. You'll also be able to turn this into an RTMP server locally. Reasons you might want to do that, let's say you've got this running in your car or something, you could essentially turn this into RTMP mode and then stream from your device, and then this will pick up that RTMP as long as it's on the same network or one of these, because it has multiple network connections. One of the network connections is attached to that network. Pick up that RTMP stream, compile it all, and then encode it and send it out in a much better format over multiple connections. So in theory, for you folks that may be wanting to stream at home, yeah, you could run this as your RTMP server, and then you could hook it up to your Wi-Fi, and if you're real serious, you could hook it up to several connections. You know, if you have a cell network, you could hook it up to a cell modem. Your Wi-Fi, you could hook it up to Ethernet if you've got a different network. Lots of options. So yeah, this could run as your RTMP server, but if you're just looking for RTMP server, there is a cheaper way to do it. But that's why we're going to be doing the BELABOX setup with this. Now, BELABOX as a software package essentially takes over the device and makes it what it is. But we can still go in and give some Linux commands to do the things we need to do to make this project work. And we're going to show all you that, folks. But belabox.net has all sorts of information on it. Also, one of our partners, IRL Toolkit, these folks actually help us come up with some custom streaming solutions from time to time. We'll talk about them a little bit later on, but they are a huge sponsor of BELABOX, and there's all sorts of resources here. And this video, folks, this BELABOX video here is actually very good for setting this up. So long story short, just real quick housekeeping, cloud.belabox.net is going to be your home, okay? So cloud.belabox.net, that's where you can sponsor. So for it costs $10 a month to run this from the cloud. I believe you can run it on your network and access the dashboard or the control panel, because all the controls for this you'll access via computer or smartphone. Now to do that, I believe I think you can do it for free on your home network, but as soon as you're off network, you're going to need cloud access. That's $5 a month, and you sponsor it with GitHub. So you basically just go to this BELABOX sponsors on GitHub. And all the instructions are here, folks. This is a little bit of the stuff you'll have to do on your own, but $5. Now for $10, they'll give you BELABOX Cloud Relay, which is what we might need. So if you're a storm chaser and you want to pull this into OBS at home and then put it out to the cloud so that when your vehicle loses data or something, you're not dropping your stream, you're not splitting your VODs, you're going to need that Cloud Relay. But for $10 a month for what you're getting, and it also supports a really good project. So highly recommend it. But anyway, keep in mind that there are some prerequisites with this, and they are going to be included in this article that's going to come out that I'm going to be posting here, folks. So First thing that we're going to need to do, I'm going to actually go by my article. So we're going to go in order just so it makes sense. First thing, but let's see, before you start for the smoothest, blah, 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 accuracy. Okay. All right. So first thing we got to do is go to BELABOX.net. And let's see here. BELABOX is for blah, 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 Orange Pi 5. So you click on Orange Pi 5 Plus. And look, it goes here to all of the, we'll just call these like approved boards. So the Banana Pi, never even heard of that. The 5B, the 5B Plus, the 5A, and the Orange Pi 5 Plus, which we're using. It compares them all. And then at the bottom, it's really handy. There's a eMMC installer. We're not doing eMMC yet. That's more of an advanced user thing, but we're going to download the image. So you just click on download image right here. And it's going to download it. It's a large file, so it'll take a minute to download. I've already done that for the sake of time. I'm sure you all know how to download stuff. But I'm going to need our SD card. So this already assumes you have this set up prepared to go, like we did last night. Here's the SD card. I'm using a 256 gig high endurance. You don't have to use that good of a card. But I'm going to insert this into my computer. And then we're going to go ahead and open up Balena Etcher. We did this last night for flashing Ubuntu. Where is my Balena Etcher? There it is. Any day now. There it is. And then we need to flash from file. So now we need to go and locate. Now, I don't know if I've got anything I shouldn't have in my downloads. Well, too late. You saw it now. And we need to find the image. BELABOX, Orange Pi 5 Plus, blah, blah, blah. So that is our essentially operating system, if you want to call it that. Select the target, and then we're going to find that SD card. And I see it's not in there. So we need to eject it and stick it back in. Now be careful. You don't want to accidentally flash. Ignore it. You're not going to want to accidentally flash your solid state drive or anything on your computer. That would be very bad. So you select the card, and then we click on flash. And now it's giving me a warning, making sure I'm not flashing my hard disk, which I'm not. Put in a password to authorize it. Hello, work. There we go. So now it's going to flash the drive. This will take a little bit of time. Maybe not. It says under a minute. Let's go check the chat. Diana or Diane? Diana, thank you for your super chat. Is that pounds? Are you across the pond? Like cow, where's all of our viewers this morning? Nobody's on. Be sure to give the stream a thumbs up, folks. Really help us out here. We're not, we've got nobody on here today. What is going on? Holy cow. Good thing these are going to be VOD'd. There we go. All right, so Balena Etcher is almost done. It's just validating. I'm going to skip this part. You really shouldn't skip it, but I'm going to skip it. And just eject the card. So then I'm just going to yank it out. Now, super, super simple. This will vary from board to board, but we need to insert it into the SD card slot. The little gold pins go toward the circuit board. So if it's upside down, the writing will be up, if that makes sense, because the circuit board is going to read the card. So put it in the right way. It'll only go in one way. It's good to go. Now, I'm just going to use the hand cam because I'm not dealing with that freaking tripod thing again. So let's see if I can switch over to this. Okay, so now we're going to set it up. I have ours running over there testing it, doing some endurance tests. You're going to need a good power source, and you're going to put, well, hold on now. I think I need to, because, well, no. We'll do that in a minute. You're going to need a power source, which is actually not that. It's actually the port on the back. That is the power input. As soon as you apply power, you're going to get a red light. This should start blinking blue to indicate that it's doing something. Okay, good. It's getting nervous there. And then I have an access point with an Ethernet cable. Hold on a second. A very short Ethernet cable. I just got to set you down to plug it in because my router is not in here. So we're just going to plug that into any of those Ethernet ports on the back. So this thing is now going to boot up, connect to the network. We could SSH access this, but we're going to do something much simpler for you folks. And I'm going to take, I have this handy dandy spare HDMI cable, and we're just going to put it into one of the HDMI outputs. I'm just going to put it in the middle one because I don't remember which one's the input, but I know the middle one is an output. And then a few other things we're going to need. We're going to need a keyboard and mouse. Well, a keyboard, right? It can be wireless. So it should have drivers. So we're just going to plug that up. Just plug that up. Doing this one-handed. You're good to go. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move my OBS instance back down to my other screen. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the HDMI source from this. Now, if you don't have a monitor, you absolutely could use a computer or a TV like this. So, all right, up here, the BELABOX installation is complete. You don't need to connect a monitor to your board at any point. The initial configuration is done by opening the web interface, blah, blah, blah. Here's really all that we need for right now. 192.168.1.218. That's the IP address. Now, hang on a second here. All right, oops, slam that down. All right, so we're going to type that in, 192.168.1.218. And boom, there's our BELABOX on our local network. See how easy that is? Now password, we need to set a password for the web interface, something you can remember, like, oops. I'm going to call it password for right now, and you hit set password. Boom, there it is right there. Thanks, Amber, by the way. Really appreciate it. Especially on a slow month like this. Boom, here it is. Here's your control. Here's your BELABOX control. You're good to go. If you're not paying for Cloud Relay or anything else, you are now officially ready to stream. That's it. That's all you had to do, except for some modifications that are optional. But here's a little tour. Now, you see we've got our connections here. Port, Ethernet 1, IP address, bitrate. Now, here's where you can enable and disable them. Now, if I go ahead and plug in a USB modem or something else, which I guess I can do that. I don't have a SIM card in here, but I think if I plug this in, I think it will still recognize it. So in a moment, we'll see if it does or not. Because I don't have a SIM card in it, but I think it'll still show up as just a dummy USB. So if you have several network connections, that's the whole point of this, is you can spread that out over multiple connections, the signal. So you have better signal, and if, let's say you've got AT&T and Verizon, let's say if you're in an AT&T dead zone, it seamlessly switches over and everything. So this is where all of your interfaces will show up, and you can enable and disable them here. And you can set your bit rate here. Yep, there it is right there. See Ethernet 2, it popped up, 192.168.1.1. It shows it as an Ethernet. These USB modems are almost always going to show as an Ethernet connection. So right there, easy as pie already. You can set your bit rate with this slider. You can go as low as 500 and all the way up to 12,000. If you're running 720p, because this is HEVC, I would probably run it at like 2500 kilobit. 1080p 30, I'd probably run it at like 4,000. But we'll just, for demonstration purposes and not using too much bandwidth, we'll just put it down at 1250. And now you're in SoC temperature, that is system on a chip. So that's how hot or not hot your processor or your CPU is. That's running normal right now. And your encoder settings. Now here is where you select what you want to stream from. So RK3588, that's a prefix for all of these, right? But they're all H.265, but you'll see the underscore HDMI. That's just going to use your native, whatever resolution the HDMI source is at, but H.265 underscore HDMI 1080p. So if you want to stream 1080p from the HDMI input, you just go ahead and click in HDMI 1080p. Your audio source can be from the HDMI itself, or you can do analog in, and that's going to use the little microphone jack on the Pi. So if you want to use like a wireless mic or something and just plug it into that versus the camera, you can do that as well, or you can do no audio. Your other options as well, local host, that's your RTMP server. And we'll cover that, honestly, probably at a later time on how to access the RTMP settings and all that. You can send a test pattern. And then here's what we're going to use for our demonstrations today. We're going to be using one of the, actually, hold on. Did I lose the... Hold on a second. Lost the goddamn camera. Well, that's fine. We'll just unbox another one, but we're going to use one of these weatherproof USB cameras, but I'll show you that in a minute. They look like the ones we used last night. You can use something like that too. I wouldn't use that for a high production quality thing, but for something like what we're doing, deploying these out in the elements, or even if you're using this as like a trail cam or an outdoor camera, they work good. So we're going to do USB MPEG 1080p. You could do 720p. Thanks, Christina. And then you could set an audio delay and all that, but we don't care about that right now. This dynamic bitrate overlay, don't check that. That's just stats on the stream. SRT LA settings. Now here's what's kind of important, folks. You may omit this. So SRT LA receiver address. You might have your own SRT LA server. You probably don't. That's where you need that BELABOX cloud relay, like I had talked about earlier. Now, what you would do with that is you would take the receiver address from the BELABOX cloud, and those instructions are on the website. And I'm not going to show you mine right now because it's got my sensitive passwords and stuff in it. But you would take the SRTLA receiver address, put it here, and then the port, and then the stream ID, and that's all spelled out for you in the BELABOX Cloud Relay account. We can go into that. I might sign up with a dummy account on another date and time. We can make that a separate stream, but at least you'll know how to do it. The SRTLA latency, I do recommend 2,000 milliseconds. That's 2 seconds. That basically means it's got 2 seconds to fix any hiccups in the signal or any missed packets. And that's what I do. I use 2,000 milliseconds, a 2-second latency from the field, and we have no issues with it. But if you're on a very stable network at all times, then you could probably bring that down to like 800 milliseconds. But advanced and developer options. Now this is what's going to be somewhat important. Your SSH password. You need to note this down. Wait a minute. Oh no, I'm sorry. If you're gonna, that's kind of getting ahead of us. But if you're gonna run the SSH server to do these modifications for the USB camera, like we're gonna do, which are optional. Okay, optional. But you may need to start SSH server. And Aiden, if you're watching, I think this might have been your problem. Start SSH server, and now you have a password. Note that password down. You can come back and get it, but note that down because we're going to need that in a minute to get local access on the machine. System settings, there's really not much here. The BELABOX UI password, if you want to access this from the cloud, so one of your stream moderators could access this and turn it on and off for you. You can control this from anywhere by using your BELABOX Cloud remote key, and that'll be given once you get subscribed to their service for the $5 or whatever. Your software updates, your power off, and your restart, which is super nice. Your remote restart is very, very nice. So that's real easy. That's how you would handle all this. But we're going to need this password right here. And I actually am going to also need my freaking tripod because I need to film that screen up there, and I have no way to screen capture it. So I'm going to bump us back to the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on the tripod, and then I'm going to show you the modifications we have to do to the BELABOX system to make this work. Yeah, Aiden, this is probably where you ran into issues. The problem is there's like no documentation on this. Grok actually figured it out for me, so thank you, Elon, for doing something productive with your time, not firing people. Anyway, that was actually a joke. I am not for or against the government firings. I don't really have an opinion, so I'm not even going to get into it. That's not it. Oh, that's out of focus. Hold on here. Oh my God, kid, why are you screaming out there? Let's see here. How do I? Let's see. Stream. Disable that. Disable that. Now I cannot zoom in on this except by just cropping the overlay a little bigger. Oh my God, kid. She has got to calm down out there. Holy smokes. It's birth control for you, people. Seriously, this kid is just nuts out there. That's birth control though, folks. So what you're seeing is a command line interface, and I don't expect you guys to be able to see all of this. nicely, you know. But hold on, I gotta get my instructions. But this is all gonna be in this article that I'm providing. Where is my keyboard? Where is my keyboard? Are you kidding me? Oh no, have I seriously lost my keyboard? Hold on, I'm going on a hunt for my keyboard right now. How do you lose a keyboard? You've got to be kidding me. I've lost my keyboard. I'm walking around. Oh, wait a minute. I found it. How do you lose a keyboard? Well, trust me, apparently it's possible. But I'm going to kind of read these commands out loud to you guys, but they're all going to be in this article that I've posted, okay? Or will be posting here shortly. So don't feel like you're going to be lost here. I have to unplug this extra monitor though, so there we go. All right, ready for the magic? Cool. I'm not. So step 1. All right, we've done that. All right, so we're back at the BELABOX, and you only need the keyboard for this. So we're going to log into BELABOX, right? So anything that we're going to do, any prompt you give this is going to want that user and password. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a bullshit prompt off the bat and hit enter. BELABOX login, and now that's the prompt. Now we need to respond with user, USER, enter. Password is going to be that god awful long password that I was showing you guys a moment ago in the BELABOX system by the SSH stuff. I gotta find it again. So it's ON8EPHXSNCFWAYWXQMCS. Now you'll notice that none of that actually showed up as I typed it in. That's just a Linux thing because it's a password. Type it in. Just keep typing. Hit enter. There it is. Welcome to Ubuntu 2204.3. This is blah, 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 Linux, copyright, no warranty, whatever. To run a command as administrator, use root, use sudo, and man sudo root for details. So basically, we're going to run everything as sudo, or sudo, whatever you guys want to call it, just because that's my habit. But that's all going to be explained here in this little article post, because it's just easier to read and go along with something like this if you're doing it on your own. Because I know you guys can't read this right now, which is okay. But so we've logged in. That's good. So we saw a bunch of our text scroll by. That's normal. So now first thing we need to do is install Nano. Nano is essentially like the editor. It's kind of like Notepad almost. It's like the text editor. It's not included in this package. So we have to type sudo space apt space install space nano and hit enter. It wants the password again. It will ask you, I think, only twice for this password. So we go ON8EPHXSNCFWAYWXQMCS, enter. And we did the password right, and you'll notice it's doing all sorts of stuff. Right now it is installing Nano, and it's completed. And you'll know it's complete because it'll end with just an open prompt. User at BELABOX, :squiggly line, $. And that's how you know that this thing is ready for another prompt. All right, our next prompt, according to my directions, is now we need to install the V4L utilities. Now this is basically like the webcam utilities. The problem that we're trying to solve right now, I guess I should have mentioned it, is our little web camera is set to 50 hertz, and it's going to be very distorted and a very poor looking video unless we switch it to 60 hertz, which is our power line frequency in the US. If you're in a 50 hertz power line frequency country, well then don't worry about it. But for us North American folks, we need to change this. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to install the V4L utilities, which is really easy to do. We type sudo space apt space install space V4L-utils and then hit enter. And now it's doing all sorts of stuff, and it says, do you want to continue? It's going to install 2200 kilobytes of data. Yes or no. So we type Y and then hit enter. And now it's installing this automatically. It's getting this from the internet, okay? It's not, we don't have to put any files on here. It does this. It's just installing. It's finding it from these software repositories or whatever. Okay, so that's done. So now we need to actually create a script to fix the web camera issues. Now that we have Nano installed in the V4L utilities, you can actually do a lot of tweaks with stuff on here with webcams. So just keep in mind that now you've basically got a little bit easier to use version of software on here, which is good. So now we need to do, let's see here. First thing, now we need to create a script. We're going to create a script to change the frequency of the webcam to from 50 to 60 hertz. We're going to do that by typing sudo space nano space squiggly line / set underscore webcam underscore freq.sh. Now that just basically opened up Nano, this text editor, if you want to call it that. That way we don't have to use the echo commands, but we can just type out what we want this to do. So this is making a script called set underscore webcam underscore frequency.sh. Now we have to type in exactly like I do this, and you'll be able to copy and paste this off the site. Pound exclamation mark / bin / bash, it's just good practice, enter. So next line, sleep space 5, enter. Now what that does is that waits like 5 seconds. I know it's kind of out of picture here. Waits 5 seconds or whatever to start this script and make sure that the webcam is running first. And then we need to go to the next line and go V4L2-CTL space -D space /dev /video1 space set -CTRL equals power underscore line underscore frequency equals sign 2. And now we can just go Control X for exit, and then it'll ask, do you want to save it? We click yes for Y, or Y for yes, and hit enter. And now it's prompted us with a new line there. Great. So now we need to make this script executable, which means we need to tell this computer that this is something that it can run. It's a process that it can do. So it's executable. So we type sudo space chmod space +, x space squiggly line / set underscore webcam underscore freq.sh. That's basically telling it to make this script executable, and the name of our script is set underscore webcam underscore freq.sh. Hit enter, and it doesn't come back with anything. It just comes back with a new line. That's good. That means it accepted it. So now we need to verify that it worked. So we're going to go type in. Oh no, sorry. We're going to test the script. So before we do that, we need to test it. So let's just run that script manually. So we're going to squiggly line / set underscore webcam underscore freq.sh. And it's thinking, it's making me nervous. Why aren't you coming back with a response? Cannot open device. Well, that's why. Okay, I need to plug a camera in. In fact, I might have to reboot this because I don't have a camera plugged in. This script isn't going to run unless there's a camera plugged in. So I'm just going to plug a camera into USB. So let me try that again and see if it recognizes it. We might have to reboot it. We're probably... No, it did go. It worked. Okay, all right, it worked. So now we can go. So we just ran it with the squiggly line set webcam freq sh. Now we're going to verify if it worked. Okay, so the command we're going to enter now is going to tell us if the frequency has changed. So we're going to type in just V4L2-CTL space -D space /dev /video1 space -get -CTRL equals power underscore line underscore frequency. And it came back with power line frequency equals 2. That's good. There's 3 options for power line frequency with this utility. 0 means no change. The number 1 represents 50 hertz. The number 2 represents 60 hertz. So it worked. That's good. Now, if we reboot this device, that script isn't going to run. It's going to go back to default. So we need to tell this computer or this device every time that it turns on, it needs to run the script to make sure that this is in 60 hertz. So we're going to create a systemd service file. So that's not hard to do. So we're going to go sudo space nano slash, space slash etc slash systemd slash system slash webcam freak.service and hit enter. Directory slash etc slash sys. Oh, I spelled it wrong. So now I have this red thing that says directory system or sytemd does not exist because I had a typo. So we're just going to exit. And we're going to try this again. Sudo nano slash etc slash sytemd slash system slash webcam dash freak. So the name of our service is webcam dash freak. Now you can make that whatever you want, but we're just going to make it that. All right, so now we've got a new file in Nano. Great, look at that. Man, we are just on a roll. We're not making too many mistakes, which is first. Maybe I can zoom way in on how I do this here. So now we're going to type this. This is going to be a lot. So we're going to go bracket, capital U, unit, end bracket, next line, description. Keep in mind this is all case sensitive, but you'll be able to see this on the website. Description, we're just going to make a description like set USB webcam frequency to... I guess that's not necessarily required, but if we start doing more scripts on here, you know, you're going to want to know what's what. And then we do after equals local. Is it dot or dash? Hold on, where's my notes? Local dash fs dot target space bracket service end bracket next line type equals one shot next line remain after exit equals yes. Next line, bracket, install, end bracket, next line, wanted by equals multi-user.target. That's it. So Control X to exit, and then Y for save, and then enter. And now it's prompted us down at the bottom there, which I will move you back to. And zoom out. Sorry, I don't have any zoom on this camera. I'm going to figure out a way to screen capture this external monitor one of these days. So that's back where we need it. Cool. So we've done that. Now we need to set, we're almost done, folks. Now we just need to set permissions for it to make sure that this is always going to run and not have any issues. So we're going to do sudo chmod space 644 and then another space. And then slash etc slash systemd slash system slash webcam dash freak dot service. Enter. And we got no error, so that means it worked. So now let's check the frequency again. V4L2 dash CTL slash or dash D dev video 1 dash get control power equals power line frequency 2. Good, we haven't screwed anything up. Now we need to confirm that it works after the reboot. So we're going to type sudo reboot, and that's literally going to reboot the device. This thing starts up super fast too, by the way, folks. So it's rebooting. Literally only got one step here. This thing from power on to being ready to boot is literally just a few seconds. It's awesome how fast it starts up. All right, now we got to log in again real quick. BELABOX, login, user. Now I need the frickin' password again. It's the long one, so ON8EPHXSNCFWAYWXOMCS. I think I just typed it wrong. Son of a gun. Yep, incorrect. User ON8EPHXSNCFWAYWX. Is that an O or a Q? That's a Q. MCS. There you go. Welcome to Ubuntu. Blah, blah, blah. Great. It's working. So let's just check the frequency to make sure that it worked on boot. V4L2-CTL-D dev video 1 get-CTRL power _line power line frequency 2. Boom. So it worked. Great. Awesome. Look at that. That's all we had to do. So sudo reboot. And it wants my password because I use sudo. I might be able to just do reboot. Damn it. Quit asking me for... Alright, so we just rebooted it. Now let's go back to the computer. So we'll go back to this computer here. Hold on, let me get my other screen booted. So you can see that this isn't really that hard to do, folks. And now you can kind of use this as fundamentals of something to do. I honestly think the BELABOX is better than LiveView. Honestly, folks. So maybe some of you storm chasers, this might be something good for you as well. So we're going to go into, I got to find it. Is it online? It is. Great. So BELABOX is online. Here it is in my browser. Password is password. And look at that. It's working. Fantastic. So there is a software update available that you can install down here under System, but we're not going to do that right now. But it's working. This is great. Let me, you know what? I'm going to... Let me see if there's a way I can open my BELABOX UI without showing you my passwords. Because I would really like to be able to stream with this real quick and show you guys how it works. Okay, all right, I'm okay with this. So I am going to show you this right now, guys, and you're going to see these device keys and the secret URLs. Be like, oh my God, he's showing, you know, all the weenies out there, like, oh my God, he's showing us his passwords. These device keys are like 64 characters long. You're only seeing like it's not enough to matter. So this device key, that's what you would use to put this on the cloud. But I wonder if I can regenerate. I can't. I'm not going to be able to show you this part on stream, but I'm going to put in the SRT-LA settings because I don't want someone taking these from me. So I'm going to take that off screen for a second, okay, and put them in because they are found on the cloud hub here. You'll be able to access these yourself. So the SRT-LA receiver address is always going to be use.srt.belabox.net. And then the port, 9 times out of 10, is 5000. And then your SRT stream ID, that's going to be, you know, whatever it is on your console. So I can actually bring this back down because it grayed it out for me. So that's how it's now set up to stream. Okay. Okay, Mr. Mackey. Probably get canceled for that too. So there you go. So it's set up. In theory, we should be able to. I'm going to back this down because I don't want to hog my bandwidth. Click Start. Oh, hold on. Whoops. I have HDMI selected. We need to select USB. USB 1080p. Start. I might have to reboot this because we were just logged in. Yeah, capture card error. It's because we were just logged into this, so I need to unplug the webcam and plug it back in. I might have to actually reboot the box. Yep. I'm going to reboot the box, and I'm going to give it a hard reboot. And like I said, I've noticed this if you're using the monitor and keyboard, and then you go and try to get out of SSH or local access, you've just got to reboot the damn thing for it to pick up on the webcam, which I'm trying to figure out which power cable I got plugged in. So this might just take a second, but what we're going to see here is this thing's going to pop up in the Radar Omega app somewhere here in southern Wisconsin. Let me put Cyclone port on, and I will put the device settings on. This is private, unit 1, private, public. Save. Again, this thing boots up so fast. It says disconnected from BELABOX, trying to reconnect. I'm going to refresh this once, and it still hasn't joined the network, so give this just a minute. I hope the IP didn't change. I'm super impatient. Let's try loading it again. How much you want to bet the freaking IP address changed on this? Let me make sure I got the right IP address. Stand by one. This is interesting. This should be surprising, folks. It's actually not. Let me just open this up. I wonder if I screwed something up. It's not showing up as accessible on the network. Oh, it did. No, it did change. It's 192.168.1.189. Okay, it did change. That's something to be mindful of, folks. So the IP address changed. So, because it was rebooted and all that. So it's 1.189. There it is. So what's the password? Password. Enter. Here it is. It's working now. So let's see if it's working or if it's going to... That's stuck on HDMI again. I forgot to change that. USB. There we go. Start. Oh, it's trying to pull audio off the HDMI as well. So we're going to no audio. All right, so you see we're starting to get bitrate. So this is my Ethernet cable. This is my Verizon. Yeah, there's that other modem. This is actually a modem on Verizon, which we have no service here. That's why it's running like 3 or 5 kilobits per second. But you'll see you'll get a total bitrate here. And then this will show you your different networks and which network is carrying the load. Now, if we go any second here, because there's some wizardry happening in the background, that's going up to the cloud to my server and transcoding and transmuxing back into H.264. Boom, there it is on the app. Did you see it popped up? I'll circle it. Right there. See how slick that is? Click on it. There it is. So, pretty slick. So we can go back in and hit stop, and it's done. Congratulations. Bitrate is low. Not really. I mean, if we're running, honestly, HEVC, let me start that again. What are we running here? 18 or 1500 kilobits HEVC is probably fine. But this one here, I don't have, like I said, this is a Verizon USB modem that's in there. I do not have Verizon service at this house at all, so I'm surprised it's even connecting. But we can bump this all the way up to freaking who knows how fast you want, or how fast of a bit rate you want, quality. But that's how this works. And congratulations, folks. That's literally all we've done. And this is all. This is all included here in our little how-to guide. I'm not seeing any issues. All right, and that's how you do it. It literally is that easy, folks. What I'm using for air cards, or for cards, these are MiFi USB 730s, Novatel's. These, I've had mixed luck getting these to work with AT&T. They do work with AT&T, but they don't like when the APN is changed from broadband to e-reseller. So if you're using a prepaid SIM card for your data on these 730s are not going to be preferred. There's ways to make them work, but they just act goofy. There's a lot of stuff you got to tweak in them. It's like they just don't like that e-reseller APN for some reason. But if you're going to put a Verizon SIM in here, prepaid or not, you're good to go. The USB 8s, the Incegos, yeah, the Incego, sorry, US 88s. These are unlocked. They run all carriers. They have all the APNs built in. You don't have to change any settings. T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever, doesn't matter. Just put it in there to work. I've actually had mixed luck getting these to work with Linux though. So I'm going to test right now and just see if, I just want to see if this thing even picks up on the AT&T. So I'm going to take an AT&T SIM card, pop it out of the adapter, because I've got it in a mobile router right now, because I do have AT&T service at the house. I just want to see if this works. Put the SIM in here, and then I'm going to just plug this into the BELABOX, which is, you know, the primary advantage of the BELABOX is having multiple connections. That's always good. So that's going to take a minute to boot up, but otherwise that's kind of what I recommend for modems. If you want, you could also go with like a Netgear Nighthawk, the MR1s. If you're going to run it all the time, especially in warm areas, you have to power it externally and remove the battery. They overheat with the battery in them, otherwise they're fine. I would disable Wi-Fi on here and then plug it into Ethernet to your BELABOX. That's what I would recommend. Because the Wi-Fi is going to burn up your battery and cause it to heat up and shit like that. So those are kind of my options. There's other like kind of generic USB air cards that you can get. USB modems, sticks. Go back to BELABOX. It did recognize that modem. So it looks like BELABOX is recognizing those US 88 modems. So let's just go down to a low bit rate and see if I can get this to push. Yeah, it's pushing data. So that means, watch this, I can disable. Well, I don't know if I want to do that, because if I disable the Ethernet, I don't know if it's going to lose my control. No, it doesn't. So I just disabled Ethernet, and now it's pushing it all over cell data. See how it balances out? And if I, so like, let's pretend that the Ethernet connection, let's pretend that's Verizon. Well, we just hit a Verizon dead zone, and now it's not pushing any data. It's all on AT&T. So we still have a stream. And now we're driving along, or we deployed it, or the cell phone network goes down, and we just lost our AT&T, which is our bottom. Well, Verizon is still working, so let's simulate that. So we just disconnected AT&T. Well, look at that. Verizon picks it up. So do you see how beneficial this is to live streaming, even if it's a stationary camera? Especially in storms when everything's always kind of screwed up. So awesome. So the US 88s are not working properly with the desktop version of Ubuntu, but they are working with BELABOX. So I can officially recommend the Incego US 88s, which are not on our list, but they will be now. I can officially recommend these for the preferred modem for this build using BELABOX. Now, the only thing is these are expensive. They're like $100. These USB 730s, you'll notice it's like the same thing. It's basically the same thing. I think Novatel and Incego are like the same, you know. These 730s are a little older, but these will work on all of it, no matter what. Guaranteed to work for Verizon Invisible and those other prepaid Verizon MVNOs. It will work with AT&T postpaid, but prepaid AT&T, it doesn't like the e-reseller APN that you got to put in there. There is a way to get it to accept it, but it's a pain in the ass. So if you're using prepaid AT&T, I'd probably stick with these. But otherwise, if you're using anything Verizon, just go with the cheaper USB 730. They're like $30 on Amazon because they're all refurbs. So that's what we're running. Cool. So Awesome. Well, we just confirmed some devices and everything too, so this is cool. We got a lot of work done today, folks. So that was my topic for today. I wanted to go and basically teach all you guys how to run that BELABOX thing so that we had an actual reference for it. So that's pretty cool. If you guys want, I can go ahead and show you our parts list and everything again real quick. Actually, let's add this to the parts list. So Google Sheets, WeatherEye build sheets. Oh, you can't even. Oh, you can't see that. WeatherEye build sheets on Amazon.com. Actually, I'm going to put affiliate links in here, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I'm just going to put the space and then put pending. So let's expand this a little bit. So we're going to recommend that 730 for Verizon. And then how about, let's try to find the USB or US88s. Yeah, see, 150 bucks, but man, they're good. They're really good. Honestly, though, folks, for that price, I'll just put the regular link in for now. You only get one for 149, but they're good. It's seriously, these modems get signal. They are very good modems. Very good modems. All right, so I just put that in for the note. Expensive but best in class. All carriers and confirmed working with BELABOX unit. I put these little asterisks on these quantity items where you can maybe pick one. So I'm putting a note in here as well. Just putting, buy with the other modem or just pick one kind of thing. That way people know, hey, pick one or the other. You honestly could get the Netgear Nighthawk. Let's see, Netgear Nighthawk. Let's see, what do we got? Yeah, 80 bucks. 80 bucks refurbished. So this honestly might be a better option, which is this. And then disabling Wi-Fi and then just running Ethernet into the BELABOX. But I'm not going to recommend that just yet because I don't know how these behave with battery power banks. I don't know if they just boot up automatically with power. I need to do some testing before I can recommend somebody go out and spend money on this. Because the last thing I want to do is recommend to folks, hey, go buy this. Then they buy it and they're like, well, this was a piece of shit. So we want to avoid that. This is a good quality piece of equipment, but I just don't know how it works with this ecosystem. So we got to do a little experimenting. So I've updated that. So if you actually go to projectweathereye.com and click on the build or the parts lists up here at the top, you'll see that, this is down, this is here, and you can scroll over. Oops. You can scroll over for links. So there's our parts list and resources. If you need resources to some of the live streaming stuff, here it is. BELABOX and all that, your downloads, all these links are here. So putting all of our notes here on the website for us, folks. One thing I'm going to do real quick, I'll kind of start monitoring the chat a little bit here. Let me up over that for a minute. Man, it looks like ass, don't it? So now you see kind of what my production looks like up there. I'm going to go ahead, folks, and hold up.